After Sam Darnold and the Seattle Seahawks won Super Bowl 60, I want to get you guys my top takeaways from this performance from Seattle and dive into some good and some bad news on the Vikings front. My name is Patrick Siepman, and welcome in to Vikings Now. So obviously the bad news first is the decision that the Vikings made last offseason to let Sam Darnold walk. I truly believe this decision will haunt them for not only this upcoming year, obviously this previous season, but for many years down the line, because now the Vikings have a huge question mark at the quarterback position, the most important position in all of sports, and even former Darnold teammates were taking to social media and showing him a lot of love. Jonathan Gennard, one of the best players on the football team, said, "Hell yeah, Sammy," with a ring emoji. Then also left tackle Christian Darrisaw took to Instagram and posted Sam Darnold getting interviewed after the game. Now, clearly a lot of these guys, they have came out over the last week and shown a lot of support and a lot of love for Sam Darnold. They have pretty much put it on the table that they wanted him back in Minnesota. So I ask you guys this question. Would the Vikings have won a Super Bowl if they have kept Sam Darnold? Now, I think this past year in the NFL is one of the most wide open years we have ever seen in NFL history, where there was probably about 6 to 7 teams where they really felt like they could have won the Super Bowl this past season. Now, on the Vikings front, if they would have kept Sam Darnold, could they have? Because obviously Seattle would not have been there with Geno Smith. You would have still had to go toe-to-toe with a team like the Los Angeles Rams. You still have teams like the Niners, the Eagles, the Bears in the NFC, and then the AFC. Team like the Patriots coming out of that conference. Could the Vikings have beaten them? I don't think so. I don't think the Vikings would have done it. Now, obviously, this is just reckless speculation. We really have no idea if the Vikings were able to make the Super Bowl if they would have kept Sam Darnold, but I just think the difference between the Vikings last year and the Seahawks of this year was I think the Seahawks defense was slightly better than Minnesota's this past season. And also the biggest kicker of it all, the Seattle Seahawks had a running game. They had an elite running back in Kenneth Walker, where pretty much Sam Darnold last night in the Super Bowl, he just didn't need to throw that catastrophic pick six or that catastrophic turnover where it can completely derail the game and flip the momentum. He just needed to be a game manager. And that's what they set him up to do. And that's my biggest issue with Kevin O'Connell. He never just asked his quarterbacks to be game managers. He asked them to play elite, high-end quarterback play. And yes, when it is all clicking, when it's looking good, it can look like one of the more explosive offenses in the National Football League. But when you had a guy like Darnold last year, you start looking at those playoff losses. Yes, the tape showed that Darnold wasn't good, but it's not like KOC put him in any position to succeed. So even if Darnold came back, I don't think the Vikings would have, made the Super Bowl this past season. Now, I think what is so funny about this whole situation is with all these rumors about the Vikings where it's like, could they go out there and get a Derek Carr? Could they bring back Kirk Cousins? Could they trade for Kyler Murray? What would the Vikings do this offseason to get Sam Darnold? A bona fide top 10 quarterback in the league in the prime of his career. I think the Vikings would have given up a first-round pick and more. They would have given up pick 18, probably a third-round pick, and gave Sam Darnold $40+ million per year. You had him in your building this past offseason, and I just think being a Vikings fan is one of the worst experiences in all of sports. I'm at the point right now where my whole life I've been saying I am making my kids be Vikings fans. I hope they aren't. I'm going to have them choose their own NFL team because I don't know if I want to put them through what all of us Vikings fans have been going through for the last couple of seasons. But we'll dive into the good here from the Super Bowl, kind of going over some overarching takeaways and how it connects to the NFL moving forward to the next couple of seasons. But if you guys could, hit that subscribe button today. We're closing in here on 70,000 subs on YouTube. Just need 188 more of you guys to hit that subscribe button. So if you guys want to help us out, join the Vikings Now family here at Chat Sports. Hit that subscribe button today and also turn on those notifications. All right, so the good news from the Vikings front here is that the last 3 Super Bowl teams, and specifically winners, have been defensive-driven groups. Like the Kansas City Chiefs, that one year when they won with Spags and Patrick Mahomes, obviously they weren't led by their offense. They were led by Spags and that defense. Last year, the Philadelphia Eagles, they were led by that nasty defense, specifically that front. And then obviously with the Seattle Seahawks this year, that defense was the biggest reason why they won the Super Bowl. And the good news for Vikings fans is because the Vikings have a top 5 defense in the National Football League. There's no disputing that. And I think heading into the next season with them retaining Brian Flores, you can stamp that. You got key guys getting a year older in the system who just understand what Flores is trying to accomplish each and every single week. So next year, the Vikings, they'll have a top 5 defense. Also, you need to have a pass rush. And the Vikings pass rush this upcoming year will be dominant. I'm fully confident in that because I think Dallas Turner is sitting on a possible 12, 13 sack season next year. If you keep Gennard, He's going to be fantastic. You still got Andrew Van Ginkel. You have one of the better trios of pass rushers in the NFL, and you also have a guy like Jalen Redmond on the interior. He's a good pass rush specialist at the defensive tackle spot. Tieran Ingram-Dawkins is solid as well. So you have a really, really good front line on the defensive line. Now, you definitely need more talent in the secondary. That's where, like, the Seahawks, where they have, like, a difference between having a really, really good defense and a great defense. Because, yes, they do have that great front seven, but they also have an immense amount of talent in the secondary. You're going to have to replace a guy like Harrison Smith, obviously, because Harrison Smith, even though, on the back nine of his career this past couple of seasons, he was still playing very good football. And you need maybe that Devin Witherspoon. You need that Nick Eamon-Warry, which, I like the pick of Donovan Jackson. Eamon-Warry was right there. Eamon-Warry is an absolute stud. I wish the Vikings would have went in that direction and leaned more into Brian Flores and the strength of this team, and that's what the Vikings need to do this offseason. I think they need to lean more into their defense and spend premium draft pick capital on that side of the ball. Go do it. Go spend the first-round pick on defense. Go get that lockdown corner. Go get a safety in the second round. If you're going to have any big-name free agency money spent, go have it be on that side of the football. Turn this defense into not only a top 5 unit, but turn it into the best unit in the NFL. So I think number 2, in terms of biggest takeaways from the Super Bowl, is that defenses are still carrying the load for these units as they go on their runs. And takeaway number 3, I think the last 2 Super Bowl champions, if I had to give most credit to anybody in the Eagles organization, it's Howie Roseman. And anybody for the Seahawks organization this past year, it's got to be John Schneider. I mean, Howie Roseman this past year when they won the Super Bowl built an unbelievable team. I mean, they had so much talent. They literally had the best offensive line, the best wide receiver duo, the best running back, the best defensive line, elite secondary players, and that's on Howie Roseman. I think he gets the most credit for that Super Bowl ring. Also, John Schneider this past year, he built a loaded team. I mean, that defense has dudes flying all over the football field. They now still had a couple holes in their offensive line, but you still had elite weapons. You had an elite running back. Like, there was really no major holes on this team, so he built that elite team as well. And I think the Vikings, it all gets back to their drafting. The Vikings have not been a good drafting team under Kwesi Adofo-Mensah, and that has to change this upcoming year. Because if they miss on another draft with Rob Ravinsky, man in the charge there, it could get ugly here in Minnesota. They lack in depth. They need to at least get 3 to 4, day one immediate impact players in this draft, or else it could be looking bad, moving forward. But if you guys want the Vikings to nail their next GM pick, whoever it may be, maybe they go try to go out there and get a George Payton, or maybe they just promote Rob. But if you guys want to nail their next GM pick, go down there, hit that thumbs up icon. We'll dive into the last takeaway from the Super Bowl here in a second, but I want to tell you guys about today's presenting sponsor, and that is Factor Meals. Now head to factormeals.com/VikingsChat50 off and use promo code VikingsChat50 off to get 50% off your first Factor box, plus free breakfast for 1 year. Now, if you guys want to eat better, but you have zero time and zero energy to make it happen, Factor doesn't ask you to meal prep or follow recipes. It just removes the entire problem. 2 minutes, real food, done. And Factor is already made by chefs, designed by dietitians, and delivered to your door. So all you got to do is heat it for 2 minutes, and you are ready to eat. Now, I love Factor because they have no refined sugars, no artificial sweeteners, and no refined seed oils. And they have over 100 rotating weekly meals, including high-protein options, calorie-smart, Mediterranean, GLP-1 support, and also ready-to-eat salad. So it's always fresh, never frozen, ready in 2 minutes, no prep, no cleanup, no mental load. So head on over to factormeals.com/VikingsChat50 off and use promo code VikingsChat50 off to get 50% off your first Factor box, plus free breakfast for 1 year. This offer is only valid for new Factor customers with code and qualifying auto-renewing subscription purchase. Make healthier eating easy with Factor. Now, I think this is probably the craziest spot that we've ever seen in NFL history, is that the whole league, and specifically the NFC, is wide open. Now, I want to show you guys this DraftKings Super Bowl odds for next year, and we have never seen a team end of the year as the favorite with these odds. Normally, they're always around plus 500, even sometimes down like plus 300, but the Seahawks come in at plus 950. Then it's the Rams, the Bills, the Eagles, the Patriots, Ravens, Packers, all these teams you see in the top 10, they're all within 600 points in terms of odds. Like the Chiefs at plus 1,500, it's not that far off from the Seahawks at plus 950. But there's also a lot of good teams. Like you see those 10 on screen. Now, how about these 5? I mean, a team like the Chicago Bears and the Cincinnati Bengals are tied for 15 and 16 at still only plus 2,500. So not that far off Seattle at number one. Then you have the Niners. I mean, they're there. The Denver Broncos, the Texans, the Jags. Like, there are a lot of good football teams in the NFL, but still, the NFL is wide open. I think with us shifting away from this Kansas City Chiefs dynasty with Mahomes and Reed, there's going to be a lot of one-off champions where it's just like, oh, you remember when that team randomly got hot? They caught lightning in the bottle that one year and they won the Super Bowl. Maybe that's how we're looking back on the Seahawks team. But also, I could see the Seahawks, they're going to be a problem for the NFC for years to come. They have a great head coach. They also have a lot of money in cap space for this upcoming free agency cycle. So they're going to still be there. But point being made is, like, there is no dominant quarterback right now on a dominant team. I guess there are some really, really good quarterbacks, but those teams have question marks. Like the Bills and Ravens with Lamar and Josh, it's not like they have, these loaded teams around them like Seattle did this past year for Sam Darnold. So overall, the NFL is wide open. And I say all that to say this. That's why I think the Vikings will be very aggressive this offseason. So don't rule anything out. Like, I'm talking blockbuster trades, whatever it may be. I think this Vikings front office and this Vikings brass see the NFL landscape right now and say, hey, it's wide open. We have a lot of good football players in Minnesota. Why can't we be ultra aggressive and go out there and try to catch lightning in a bottle next season? Whether it's with J.J. McCarthy or if it's with Derek Carr, Kyler Murray, Kirk Cousins, whoever it may be, maybe the Vikings try to get super aggressive and try to go all in and make some potential big swings. And those big swings could be like a Jordan Addison trade, a Jonathan Gennard trade to get a second-round pick from him and move off his contract, Kyler Murray, and also these last two, pushing money down the road. I could see a guy like Justin Jefferson getting his contract restructured, adding a void year. Same can be said about a Darisaw. These guys with big-time contracts here in Minnesota. Watch for the Vikings to push this money down the road, add more cap space for this upcoming free agency cycle. And how do you do that? You cut some veterans, TJ Hawkinsons, the Ryan Kellys, the Aaron Jones. I think this Vikings team will be ultra aggressive and a lot of roster reconstruction here because they probably realize it's wide open. And also their jobs are on the line. Like KOC, you don't make the playoffs this upcoming season, you're probably getting fired. Same could be said about whoever is at the GM spot for the Minnesota Vikings. Big year coming for the Vikes, and we'll see if they end up making the playoffs next season. So you guys let me know. Will the Vikes make the playoffs next season? Give me a Y for yes. Give me an N for no. If we're following off the typical every other year Minnesota Vikings, which it's been for the last 8 seasons, I guess technically they will next season, but we'll see. They got a lot to do. That's why this offseason will be very, very exciting. So you guys let me know your thoughts down below. We'll get on out of here. As always, Skol Vikes.